Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. How is everybody this evening? You'll have to forgive me if I drink a little bit extra tonight. My allergies have started to kick in, so I've had a little bit of a tickle in my throat. So I've got my water here. Hope everyone's had a good week. Just going to kind of wait for everything to catch up here and all that fun stuff. All right, looks like we're going. We're live. All right, so tonight, I said we're going to play with pattern paper. Hello, Kelly. So I am gonna kind of switch over quick here to the desk cam, and we are going to play with the pattern paper of the month. Hi, Luann. So this is a new subscription. Started last month. Actually, it pulled last month. There is a new subscription called the Paper Pad of the Month, and last month was called Hi, Kate, Spring Wings. And it is only available. This was only available last month. We may use this tonight if we have extra time, just so you can see some cards made with it. But this month is called Bedtime. Hi, Karen. It's under the subscriptions. If you click on subscriptions, you can go to Paper Pad of the Month. You can buy it as a subscription, so then you're automatically guaranteed to get it each month, or you can do it as a one-off. I think you have to choose that there, but I thought we would play with this tonight. It's so beautiful. So I'm going to pull it out. I already played with it a little bit this evening. So here is the main cover. It coordinates with Raven and Lagoon, Sea, Midnight, and Alabaster. So Karen, if I didn't say hello, I'm going to say hello again. I can't remember. Like I said, I have a little bit of a head cold, so with my allergies. And these are the beautiful papers. Hi, Mom. How was dinner? I saw your message, but I was getting ready to go live. So you get 4 of each. I always separate mine out right away. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, 7, 8. These are very similar. This one just has bigger stars, different clouds. Some of these I've used already. Here's 8 and 9 and 10. And I might have already used the other one of those. So let's flip it. Yep. 10 and 11. Did I use the 1, 2, 3? Maybe I didn't count them right. I might have used them. Anyway, let's do it this way so you can see them all. There you go. Hi, Penny. So here is what the pattern papers are. Like I said, this is the subscription of the month, so you're only able to get it during this month. Hi, Jamie. So if you want this, you'll under subscriptions. I did not link these today because I wasn't 1,000% sure what I was going to use tonight before, but I will link them after. But if you go under subscriptions, you can go to Paper Pad of the Month if you would like this. Like I said, it is only available for the month of May. I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. I believe I think there's still some in stock. I talked to Jess earlier today, but I just wanted to tell you. So we are going to go ahead, and I've got a couple of ideas. I started one tonight. I guess I got to pull out my paper. What we're going to play with. And we'll see how far we get. I specifically wanted there was a specific piece of paper that I'm gonna kind of mimic a card I already made. Actually, we're gonna use this one. Okay. So it's gonna be a little different. This is gonna take a couple extra steps, but I thought this was fun. When I played with this earlier, this turned out really fun. So this is the 100-acre stencil. It comes with the back part in this. Okay, thank you. I thought so because I asked Jess specifically earlier today, so I want to make sure before I used it tonight. Um, Otherwise, I was going to maybe use one of the others, but I wanted to make sure. So we're going to use both. Now, what I wanted to show you is that it's almost impossible for all these little tiny pieces to have been saved for us. So I figured out how I could do what I wanted to do with this. So first thing I'm going to do is actually do some anti-static powder tool. Not that it's going to matter, because this is one of those forgiving um, kind of techniques that you can use. We're just going to do some heat embossing. But I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to put this down. And what I wanted to do was make sure my moon was up here in the corner. Okay. Um, and then I have a little bit of pixie spray on here. I've already sprayed it. I'm a heavy pixie sprayer. So, and I've already soaked it once. So I'm hoping that it's not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and use my magnets to kind of hold this in place here. And then I wanted to be very careful. When I use embossing ink, with stencil, I like to use a Ranger Dauber. And you can use the domed or the flat. I'm going to use the flat just because I feel sometimes with the domed, it sticks. And what we're going to do is, this is kind of weird, but we're going in here. It's not going to matter tons, but this is just something I wanted to do. You can skip this step, but I wanted to kind of highlight these little areas here where the mask that would be almost impossible to put in place. And I just went in and I'm just dabbing down a little bit. Like I said, this is kind of an extra step. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. And it's going to be very hard to see. There's only a little bit there. But what I did is I took, okay, where did I put it now? Oh, no. Did I put it away? I did. I grabbed my icicle embossing powder. And the reason we're doing this is because it's going to make it very shiny. You could use fairy dust. I'm using icicle. And then here you can kind of see there's just those couple little areas. Like I said, it's more for me in a guideline. I liked how it worked for me. So that's why I'm doing this. We're going to quick heat set this. I'm not worried about the bottom because we're going to cut this down. We're going to make a couple different cards tonight. And then I just quick heat set those. You can't even see it because it's icicle, which is going to be hard to see. And then what I did is I'm trying to remember which way I did this first. Yes, I took this and I lined them back up. So that's what I did, is because I'm going to line this up with those spots. You guys aren't going to be able to see that per se, because it's it's on the camera, it's hard to see, but I can see it in person. And then I'm going to go ahead and like I said, I only did it because I don't know. You could do it this way. I did it like that first, just because I wanted to see the areas for sure. I had another idea and it didn't quite, I'll show you why I did this in a minute. Let me get this done first. So all I'm going to do is we're going to go in and I'm just dabbing. I'm not twisting, I'm dabbing. And I'm dabbing specifically as hard as I can kind of around the trees. Now I'm doing the whole piece of paper because I figured if I don't like a spot, we can cut that out. But what I want to do is make a silhouette. So like I said, that other step I gave was kind of extra. And I will show you why I did it the first time. And then I just realized as I was doing it now live, realizing like, I guess I didn't, because I did it a different way the first time. Okay. So now I've done that. If it's not perfect, hello, Christy. Hello, Isis. If it's not perfect, it's okay because we can go back and put some more down. I'm going to pull that up. And this is embossing ink. It doesn't bother me. I don't have any water in my stencil bin tonight. I emptied it before, but I'm just going to throw those stencils in there. And then we're going to grab our icicle. And we're going to put that down again. How has everybody's week been? I am excited because since it's Friday, that means 1 week from last night, my daughter's going to be here and I'm super excited to see her. So you'll be able to see here now as I'm putting the embossing powder on. Like I missed a little spot right there. I'm not going to worry about that too much. We can fix that after. I'm trying to just make sure I didn't touch wherever there's ink. Like I said, I'm just going to because we're going to cut some of this down. We're just trying to cover up. Basically, I'm making myself another outline. And if I didn't get embossing powder perfectly in here, it's going to be okay. And we'll show you why when we're going to use all the pieces of the stencil. But this makes an extra fun little step, in my opinion. Okay, so we've got all that. Oh yeah, no, 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 never, no. Perfection, in the words of my friend Lydia, perfection is for serial killers. And I can't remember what she said, but I know serial killers is one of them. So I'm not a serial killer. I love how this just heat embossed, and it heat embossed so quickly. This paper's fun to just completely cover with icicle or the fairy dust because it's going to give it such a shimmery background. It's really going to give your stars a fun shine. And this is just kind of something fun to do. That's a little twist on, we always have with silhouette stamps out there and this and that. Well, we're going to make a silhouette stencil. All right. And then there's a little bit here on the bottom. I don't really care, but I'm going to heat set it just so I don't have it all over. All right. So now this is where, oh, I have a spot. See, this is where you got to twist it because you can't always see it, and I can see it's not shiny. So we're going to twist it in the light and check it. Oh, there's a spot right there. It's important to get for this part, it's important to get the spots around the trees because of the next step. You need to make sure that they're not gonna. So I'm gonna just kind of twist it in the light here. Now that it's not daylight, it's changed a little bit in my craft room. I do have my light above, but it's still hard to see on this darker paper. All right. Yeah, there's a couple spots I still missed. All right, now that looks pretty good. Now we had that one little spot up here that I forgot. So I'm just gonna grab it and just dab it a little bit. And I'm kind of going out in a different spot because if I do, it is exciting, Isis. I'm super excited because it's been almost 2 years since I've seen her. So she's got some stuff she's got to do a little bit during Memorial Day weekend, but she's got a couple of days with me and then when I don't have to work. So that'll be nice. But I just dabbed it up a little bit. And then where I did it, it's going to be a little thinner. I mean, it's going to be a little smoother, but that's okay. But you can't, now it's shining. And that was the key to that. So next, we're going to take this other part. And if I need to shut my curtains, I will let you know the wind is picking up here again. It's been kind of crazy. Now, this is where one of the reasons I wanted to do those little areas is because I was hoping, now, I don't know if you guys, you won't be able to see that, but I'm lining this up so that now that I have the other masks, I can use the lines and see now there's no mask right here for this because it wouldn't be able to attach. So that's kind of why I originally did that. I was going to do something a little different. But what we're going to do instead is I really liked how when I changed things around, what happened. So I'm just lining it up on the edges of that. So I have to take a drink here. Excuse me. Oh, I can't. The only thing that keeps me really from coughing is it's like sucking on candy, but it's kind of hard to talk when you have something like that. So we're going to go ahead and do this one more time. And I'm not anti-static powder tooing again, but this one I'm being very, very careful because I don't want to move the stencil. So I'm not rubbing. I'm just going up and down. And I'm being kind of a little more careful around those spots that I left that little bit of an edge there. Like I said, I'm trying not to get over that again. It still may go over it a smidge, but I'm trying not to do too much ink in those spots so that I can kind of still see that. But we'll get the idea. You'll get the idea. Like I said, I'll show you the other sample I have if this one isn't quite right because I took my time when I wasn't live. I'm going to pull that off. And then here is the magic. We're going to use one of my favorite embossing powders, Scowleen. I love this, especially for Halloween and for night skies. I mean, look at how pretty that is. Blacks with greens and purples. You know me, purple. And we're just going to go in and cover it. I forgot the top of this tree here. And look at how fun that is. So there's a little spot right there in the center that we kind of missed. It's in right here. That's kind of where, like I said before, I did that before, but we can fix that because I was kind of skipping that area earlier, but it's not going to be exactly perfect. So I'm just going to very carefully set this to the side here, and hopefully I don't make too big of a mess. And we're going to quick stencil to get this done. I didn't get it perfectly lined up like I did the first time. I didn't take my time as much, but it's very close. I'll show you the difference. And then look at how beautiful this melts. It kind of makes it just this beautiful. This stencil to me is a great one to have because you can make Christmas trees, wintry scenes. And I love the fact that this little silhouette turned out really fun. I'm just heat embossing this down here on the bottom because I don't want to get the powder everywhere. Now, where's my stencil? I'm glad I didn't put water in that. I'm going to line this back up just a little bit so I can see where I missed those couple of spots. And we're going to go back in and just fill them in because we want them to be filled in. I don't want it to be, it's kind of weird otherwise. It looks kind of weird. And then we'll fill that in. And this is the basic of our main card. Now I have some other ideas for us to use pattern paper. I used, Christopher's, he's used a few sketches lately, and I looked up a couple of fun, fast sketches where I wanted the pattern paper to shine. So I'm just gonna put this back in. One of the reasons I wanted to do the paper pad is because it's new for this month. Or it's new, the subscription is new. And it is the CYOE challenge this month to use pattern paper. So hopefully, British Monroe has amazing pattern paper pads, but if you haven't gotten one of ours yet, and you aren't going to get your order in time, use some British Monroe stamps or stencils and some other paper, for it maybe, but as long as you use at least one British Monroe item on it, you can enter the challenge. But if you haven't ordered any Brutus Monroe paper pads yet, you are missing out because they are wonderful. Oh, thanks, Ellen. I'm super excited. I'll show you the one that I have done. Because I'm going to change this one up just a smidge. Okay. So I'm going to try to show this one to you in the light and see if you can see. Look at how, like I said, the only one reason why I did both of them is because I really wanted the shine up here. Now you could just do this piece here on it and it would have that shimmery and it wouldn't shine in the background as much, but I wanted the whole thing to be shiny because I wanted like somebody to be like, oh wait, how did that work? So it looks like it's almost like an inlaid. Isn't that pretty? So you can see the shine on it, and it's very hard to see on camera the colors, but I just think it looks fun. So let's get this cut down. Oh, and yeah, let's cut it down first. And then I always like to use the back side of this, and it tells me Midnight Raven Lagoon. So I'm going to go ahead and use Midnight. But what we're going to use, I'm going to make 2 slimline cards out of this one. So I'm going to cut this directly in half. Now, because I had that border at the bottom, you could go in and fill this in with embossing ink. And we will do that on one so I can show you the difference and see what you guys think. We'll do that really quick here. Let me just grab this. Because the stencil didn't, you could go in because it has that harsh line. You could just cut it off as well. And I'm going to go in like this, but then when I get over here, I'm just kind of using the edge of my dauber to kind of edge it. Because it is the ground, after all. It doesn't have to be perfect. Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, it turned out really pretty. I was really excited. I got off to get off a little early. Oh, that's not what we wanted to do. That's okay. We'll fix it. That's not what I wanted to do. I'll show you. We'll fix it. I started talking and wasn't paying attention. We're going to heat it because I don't want to brush it off because it's already there. That's not what you want to do. If you work quickly and you have hot embossing powder, you can usually pour more embossing powder over the top. I don't know if it's going to work. We might have to go in and wipe it off and redo it, but yeah, it's already heat set. So we're just going to take, I did the wrong color, didn't I? So I'm going to quick do that again. Dab it on. And I save one embossing dauber for embossing ink, and I save one for alabaster. All right, that'll be better. All right, let's heat set that quick. I'm just gonna do it off camera real quick because it's just a little area. And the reason I did that is I wanted you to see the difference. See, I don't love it. I don't love it. But you could very easily make a mask with some Post-it note tape or whatever, but here's the difference. See, here's the difference. Let me pull those up. I mean, it's not bad. Oops, trying to get that shine. But do you see the difference with that little spot right there? Now, this actually could be a very good spot for my, I'm going to leave this one, and this is where we're going to put our sentiment. We're going to put our sentiment towards the bottom on this card, okay? Because that way I can see us. I really wanted to use this one because of the moon up there, and I loved it. That's why I specifically kind of chose this piece of paper. But, oof, we got embossing powder everywhere, so we got to wipe that off. That's the one thing I don't like about this black glass mat is you can't always see the embossing powder. And then I can feel it. Excuse me. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and use this. Instead of the Raven, I'm going to go ahead and pull the Midnight. I mean, you could pull a lot of different colors, but I'm going to pull the Midnight because I think that was fun. I did the Midnight before and I was working on my sample. And I like my mini slimline cards to be 6 inches by 3 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 3 1/4, which is perfect because this is 3 inches. So I'm going to already have that border. And then this is already 6 inches. So I can trim off this little bit off the bottom so that it's got that little bit of edge, or I can trim this down to 6.25. It kind of depends on your envelope. So I am going to do 6.25. So that would be another way. You could just chop that off a little bit towards the bottom and no one would know the difference because there's that little bit at the bottom. But we're going to put our sentiment down at the bottom. So here it is on the Midnight. It's really a deep, deep, deep card. Now, if you really wanted to show a difference, I just wanted to pop it a little bit on. See what the difference is when you put it on the light blue? Oh, I kind of like that. What do you guys think? Should we use the C or should we use the Midnight? Or we could do one of each. How about if we do one of each? I need to get one that's, yeah, that one will work. I just want to make sure I got the right piece. Yeah, let's do one of each because we have 2 cards faces here, right? We have 2 panels. So I'm trim this down to 3 1/4. I might end up with 3 cards tonight. We're at 7:30 already, but we'll make it work because the other card won't be quite as much. So we've got that. I'm thinking we've got this one and we've got this one. I'm gonna do this one on the Midnight because of the moon, and this is the way we're gonna do these 2. Okay, thanks. The C. Yep, I'm gonna do one on each, and then you guys can see. I mean, because you've got the lagoon, which is a little bit darker. I did do the C just because it's gonna give it a little bit different feel. And that way you can see the big difference. And I'm just going to quick put some glue. This would be, other than the heat embossing, it's a fairly quick card because you really only need a sentiment. Oh, I could do both. Yes, you could. Yes, we could. We could. We'll do it on the C. And then the one thing is, but we'll show it. I'm not 100% sure if I'll mat it on the Midnight again because It depends on if my card base. I mean, obviously, I can make an envelope, make it fit. I can make an envelope fit. And one thing I need to do is try making a business envelope and cut it down to make it fit a mini slim card. Because you know me, I love mini slim cards. But we could make this a slimline card as well, to be honest with you. All right. So there, if she was, like Isis was saying, we could mat it on the, see, then you could mat it on there too, which would be really pretty. But I would want to cut that down a little bit. But let's work on our sentiments first. I went through and grabbed a bunch of different sentiments, and I didn't know for sure which ones I wanted to use. I'm like, I literally grabbed a whole plethora of stamps. But I think one of the ones I really enjoyed was I like the letters from heaven. We have this one that I'm here for you. And I think that would be really pretty to just be on one of these night skies here, because it just makes me thinking about that. And then I just wanted, and there's also one here that I'm here for you, which actually maybe we'll use that one instead, because it can put it on a sentiment strip. So Isis, we might do that yet here. And then I pulled out, I think, I really don't want to do a whole lot of that. I want to do some sentiment strips. So I was just kind of looking at which ones I had here. I think I'm just going to pull out from the new day. There's a hello, my friends one. So we're going to do those kind of quick here. Let's get them stamped out. And what I'm going to do is we're going to stamp one on the C, because I'm thinking you could also do it. So like I said, I'm going to do the C and we're going to stamp it on here. And then we've got the midnight for the other. And we need this. We need our Misty here. And then we need to, I'm not going to heat emboss these, but I am going to use Simon Hurley's inks. And I'm going to stamp it kind of in this off to the right here a little bit, because I think I'm going to put some gems on this side. And so what I'll do is, I think with the dark colors, I'm going to go ahead and grab Midnight Snack. It's a really dark color that kind of reminds me of this Midnight, which if you guys didn't see, he released his new inks today. I'm hoping to order them. Some of them are the same color, from my understanding, that they're a foam pad. Oh, was there something on my stamp? We might have to redo this. Yep, we have to redo it. I got a fuzz on my stamp. But there are 4 new colors. So I'm excited, but they're not a felt pad, they're a foam. So that's about as much as I know out of watching them today. The colors looked beautiful. If I read it correctly, you can use the re-inkers. If you have the re-inkers for like these, you can use them on them, from what I read on the Ranger site, and I believe what I heard. So I'm super excited. I would like to definitely get the new colors. And then the foam pad intrigues me. Okay, so I've got that one. And then for the midnight one, we're going to do, where's that other one I wanted to use? This one. I did. Yes, I did see the new, I did watch part of it. I watched the replay because I was working at the time, and of course work got in the way. I am going to heat emboss this one, and I'm going to heat emboss this one with Gilded. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we're going to add just a little bit of shimmer, and then we'll have it match. I grabbed some of that Gilded Sparkle Shimmer Splash and some of the the Ornamental Gold Chroma Mist, because that's one of my favorites. It's becoming my favorite over, it's my Gilded, over the Pearl, just because I just love it. Yep, different ink pads. Not all of them are new colors. Some of them are there, because like Midnight Snack is one that is a new color, and it's Prom Queen, Later Gator, Weeping Willow. Those were some Shooting Star. Those were some of his favorites. And then, but they're just now on the foam as well. But there were 4 new colors. The spider, can't remember, Black Widow was it called? There was a light green. There was a purple. There was one more color. I don't remember what the 4th color was for sure, but I knew there was 4 new colors. All right. High Tide, thank you. Black Widow, 4, which is the green. Thank you, Penny. I know work always gets in the way. And he did say that these would still be available as long as people were, I mean, as long as there was demand for them. I did hear that part. So I love them. They're my favorite inks. You guys know that. But I do want the new colors. So I cannot wait to get them. And then what I'm just going to do is I just line this up. I like to line mine up with my sentiment up with the edge of my plastic piece, mostly because I use my trimmer so much, it's kind of loose here a little bit. So I have to tighten it so it doesn't always stay up. So I'm very careful about holding it with one hand. I need to get my little tools out. And then I just line it up the edge. So we've got hello, my friends. And I'm thinking I'm just going to put it right over the bottom here again because there's a little bit of a goof there that I didn't love. And then this one, there is a, yes. Yep, they were. That's what I did. Yep, I did see that. But but it said specifically, I read that on the Ranger site that said that you could use them. If you had them, they're going to be with the new Stellar label, but that you can use them, same formula. So like I said, I'm super excited because I love his inks. And I think I heard that there's possible that we're going to hopefully work on some new colors. I think Miss Penny told me during the live, she said, no lavender yet, but hopefully new colors coming. So I'm going to put that one down here because I just want this to shine. So we've got this. Let's get this going here now. I'm going to go ahead and use both liquid glue and tape runner. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going over embossing. And it's kind of like glitter. Like you could do this with that frostbite glitter cardstock would be perfect. Let's see if this, I fixed my glue thing, but it's been a couple of days. So there's a little bit of a thing on it. So sometimes after, oh, there we go. A couple of days, but you know what I found, you guys, when I was having issues with this, I just took the nozzle out and soaked it. And that was what did it for me. Oh, good, because there needs to be a lavender. And I'm just going to put this down a little bit so that it kind of covers up where I stopped heat embossing. So it kind of covers that up. I've never really done a sentiment so low to the bottom before, but I'm kind of liking it especially on this because I want that scene to just shine. So there's that one. Oh yeah, 100%. It's very pretty. I know I saw them. I saw his video, like I said, and then I watched somebody else's video that had it, talked about him too, just because I thought it'd be nice to hear another opinion, which I didn't believe because I love him. I mean, that's pretty much all I use is his inks, other than the Raven and Alabaster and Clear. So I need more colors because there's a few colors I don't quite have yet. From we don't have quite like a lavender, and I think we have a warm gray. We do have a warm light gray. I need a cool light gray, maybe, but I can make it work what I have. Okay, so we've got these. Now I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna, hopefully not make too big of a mess here. Very lightly, I'm going to add a little bit of splatter. And I'm just taking the golden shimmer splash. Let me get this out of here. And I'm gonna just lightly tap it. I just want to add a few little drops here and there. I mean, it's going to be on my desk, of course. And if it gets on I just want to add a few. Just because. And then instead of spraying it, actually, I will show you my sample. Instead of spraying it with the ornament gold, I'm also going to just splatter a little bit of this too, which this is my new one because my old one is basically gone. I'm just going to take a little bit because these are just a little bit different drops. since this is a spray form. I mean, and I'm just adding an extra few gold drops to it. Now, the reason I didn't want to spray it, I did not finish my sample from earlier. I don't have a sentiment on it. But here is what it looks like. This is the one I did earlier, and I sprayed it with the chroma mist on top as well. So there's a lot of gold. So here are three like good options. Yeah. This one, Ellen ends up being sea instead of lagoon. I really end up kind of liking how that turned out. Now we need to add a few gems. So I'm gonna grab, I've been loving the topaz lately to kind of mimic the gold. Like if you have gold sequins, you could do that. But what I'm gonna do is we're gonna put one, I'm gonna try to eyeball this as best as I can. Put a couple here. We could do the night shift, the blue ones here. Okay, I will, the dots aren't lined up, but they are. And then I'm just gonna throw a few in the sky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3. I'm gonna do 3 on that one. All right, so I'm gonna get my little pokey thing here. I'm gonna put those down, and these cards are gonna be basically done. I'm still debating Ellen, or who's, was that Ellen that said that? Isis that said that to put it on the blue. I may still do that, but I might do it after. Okay, I don't know why my light is not shining on here so easily, because I do want to move on to my other card that I wanted to make tonight using this paper pad. And I did not prep anything ahead of time. I had an idea, but I did not actually have time to do it. I took the dog for a walk instead because I was a good dog mom. But I will tell you what my thoughts are about it, and you guys can decide. Yeah, I like the C. I love how that popped out at the end. And like I said, I can always put that one on a C. Oh, we forgot to put our gems down below, didn't we? There's going to end up being more than, okay, so I'm going to do the center one first, and then I can kind of line up the other two accordingly, because I can evenly space them apart and then make sure they're kind of lined up. That looks pretty close to me, right? How does that look to you guys? It's close. It's close enough to make it homemade, right? And then I'll put this one here, and we're gonna put that one there. Those two I got pretty good lined up. This one I didn't get lined up quite so much. We're gonna put it to the edge of the glue a little bit. I may have to add a little more glue. Yep. Okay, these aren't quite. There we go. All right, those will work like that. Okay, you guys. So we've got these two, and of course, this was my sample that I'm going to finish off later. Now we've got plenty of time, but I really wanted to work on my next card. I did a little bit. Now I did want to tell you on my YouTube channel, which is Sugar Cards by Candi, and I know I shared it in the fan club group. I did show how I use the SVG files with Winnie the Pooh and how I use them to make multiple stamps at a time. And when I say multiples, in an hour between cutting and stamping, sorry, I had to grab them. I wanted to show you guys. I got all of these stamped out between setting up my cutter and then stamping them all out. So I am ready to color and go. And then I have some sentiments done as well. So I wanted to just say, I did upload that. It's on my YouTube channel, which is Sugar Cards by Candi. And like I said, I did link it in the fan club group if you wanted to see how I created a negative space using like squares to stamp out. Okay, now for my next card, what I didn't do ahead of time is, and I thought about it and it won't dry in time, is I was going to use a star stencil, and I was going to use this fairy path one, and I was going to use glow in the dark and chroma glaze on here. But of course, I ran out of time and it wouldn't have dried. So I'm not going to do that tonight because you're not going to be able to see it. When I make my I'll do one tomorrow and have it dried, but I want to finish this card tonight. We are going to make another mini slim because you know that's my favorite. And I'm looking for my trimmer. This is just another one of those papers, and you could use any one you want, but I specifically wanted, oh wait, There's two different ones. Sorry about that, guys. And I want to see, this one has the gold, this one has the white stars. Thank you, Penny. Yes. And I am no expert by means when it comes to a Crooked Joy and SVGs, but I wanted to show you how it works for me and how I created my little templates. And it has been working very well for me. I have deeply fallen in love with the Cricut. Okay, so for this one, I'm actually going to use this on some alabaster or Monitor Mamas or, white cardstock. And whatever I grab here. I don't even know what I have here. Do I have alabaster? Because I'd like to use that if I have it sitting here. It might be in another spot of my room. Perfect Blend, Not Your Mama's. Okay, we'll just use a piece of Not Your Mama's because that works too. Okay, so I'm just going to make my card panel for this one. Actually, I'm going to use this as a graduation card, so I'm not going to use Not Your Mama's. I apologize. We're going to use a card base. I have some card bases here somewhere. I think I have a mini slim card base here. So, but I don't necessarily like how much room, I guess if I went this way, it'd probably be okay, but I'm going to go this way. So I'm going to trim a little bit more off the top just so that it is got a little bit more equal color around the edges. I think I'm going to layer this, but I haven't decided on what for sure. Probably some specialty cardstock. But what we're going to do is, if I had done my stenciling, what I might do is just do some, I think what we'll do is, because I can't do the glow in the dark, I can do the glow in the dark embossing powder if I can find it quickly. I like the chroma glaze more because I like the texture the chroma glaze gives us. But if I have the glow in the dark embossing powder handy, I don't know if I do. I have the Moon Dreamer. The Moon Dreamer. This is a glow in the dark as well. So the glow in the dark or the Moon Dreamer. And so this will mimic kind of what I wanted it to do. You guys, my desk is a mess. Trying to find everything we need. Embossing powder. Okay. So we're just gonna, I want some stars. We're making a graduation card. And I used one of our cut files. And I'm not gonna be super perfect. I don't care if I get all of the design. I'm trying to just get some more stars and just add a little bit of extra something to this. In reality, we could also line it up and finish it off on the card base too, so that the stars go off that. The person that gets this card may not even realize, to be honest with you, that it glows in the dark. So it's, they're young kids, graduation's coming, but we just I'm trying to be careful because I have all these windows open, so I don't want things to just blow and blow and blow. I didn't realize the Moon Dreamer glowed in the dark as well until I was sitting here and it was sitting on my desk. And I'm like, what was glowing? Because I knew I didn't have any glow in the dark. And I'm like, oh, and the moon dust glows in the dark. So I recommend getting one or both. They're both amazing. The chroma glaze is amazing. I'm just going to quick beat set this. It's been a while since I've used this, so. With the chroma glaze, it tends to be a little bit more translucent, so you're not going to see it. This you'll see, so this is perfect because you'll see it a little bit more. And it's just for fun to show in the background. And I think what I'm going to do instead of is we'll make a mat with some of that glow in the dark embossing powder too. Now, what I did is I looked to make sure this was still in stock. This spaced cutting die would go perfect with this paper pad because you have all these fun dies. I mean, look at all the fun dies that you can cut and make night skies with. Well, I went ahead and I already die cut some of these out with the Inca Gold Mirror cardstock. I do not know if this is in stock right now, but any gold cardstock would work. You could also um, heat emboss some gilded on some pattern on like Not Your Mama's. And I have them, and I thought it would just be fun to put them on this card like this. This is where I was like, I'm not sure if I wanted to make a mat with some gilded or the embossing, this shiny paper. I'm thinking the shiny paper. And then I cut out a bunch of the stars as well. So we're going to use that. And um, I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to offset it and cut it off. Because I think this is just fun. It just reminds me of the reason I love this for graduation, especially like this bedtime, is because it reminds me to tell them to reach for your goals, reach for your stars, reach for your dreams, graduation, you know, all their life is all ahead of them, whether they're graduating from high school or college, um, or, um, community college, even kindergarten graduations, there's so much life ahead of them, so many opportunities that I just think it's fun. Thank you, Penny. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to lay that down. Oops, of course it was stuck to my finger. And I'm going to go ahead and set that down. And what I'm going to do is put my magnets on it to help it dry a little bit. And I think I am going to use the Inca Gold to mat it. I don't tend to do that. I like to use my specialty cardstock for things like this, but you know what? We got to use it, right? Okay. And then like I said, I like to just dab when I have extra glue just to kind of sop that up a little bit. And then I see I didn't quite get everywhere. So that's kind of the fun part about, I also have these little, this is like a Gina K one. She's got the other tips on it, those little tip things, and just get a little bit extra glue. And of course it's not going to work right this second. It's clogged because I haven't used it in a couple of days and it's open. So I'm just going to dab a little bit right there. Mm. All right. There we go. And I mean, there's a little bit of step to this, but it's a fairly simple card. I'll cut this off. And I'm going to cut it off at high like that because you can always reuse this. I mean, you could use this on another card. You could go back in and put it in like that and add another layer, but we're going to cover this up. So I'm just going to save this for another time. I have another piece cut out. I also did cut some out of Not Your Mama's and I did spray it with some of the ornamental gold and some of the yellow chroma mist, but I really wanted the gold more than the yellow, but this would be an option. Okay, so let's cut our mat down first. I think I have a small piece here that will work. Yes. Oh, not quite. This way. This way it will work. Okay, so let's get my zero gravity rule out here. We are at 0. So we'll use this one. So we're at 3.5. So I'm going to go to 3 3/8. Nope, let's see. This is at 3. I'm going to do 3 1/4 by, oh, thank you. Okay, so this will be quite 6, and this is 6. So we're going to cut it down to 3 1/4 first, and then we'll mat it and cut it. That is sometimes the best way to do it, is 3 1/4. Now, if you are like me, I like to hoard my specialty paper. I could take time to actually cut out the center of my pattern paper with something, cut out a rectangle because you're not going to see it. But I'm not going to go that. We're not going to do that. And then we're just going to kind of look and see what does it look like on our paper here. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. All right. I just want to kind of make sure that we're kind of, all right. So about right there is where I want to go. And we're going to just trim it down to about right. I'm going to move it over just a hair. There. So I'm just eyeballed it. All right. we doing on time? Not too bad. We got about 10 minutes. Not that I've never gone over. Now, specialty cardstock is not something, like I said, I use a ton of because I tend to hoard it. I love to hoard my paper, but I am trying to use them up. There are lots of things out there. I grabbed a couple of like I said, I grabbed a couple of sketches. We didn't end up needing them tonight because I ended up kind of knowing what I was going to do. Like Jess Crafts has one. Christopher used one of her sketches the other day. Okay, now it's not quite perfect on this side, so we're going to cut that down a little bit. But let's see if I can pick that. I don't think it quite got that straight. Okay, move it over just a hair. That looks a little better, but it's still not on this side. We got cut down just a hair. There's the sheet load of cards online. I mean, just Google if you really want to, and you can find all sorts of different sketches that can help you use up your pattern paper. Okay, what's going on here? There we go. All right, that looks a little better. Oh my gosh, that shiny paper. It's so crazy. I'm sure it's going to drive you guys nuts. So, I think we got to trim a little bit off the top and bottom. It looks like just a little bit. That's why I don't necessarily always measure some when I do my mats. I like to eyeball it because I just feel like it's easier. Sometimes for me, it also makes sense. I can lay my colored cardstock up against the edge of my clear piece and cut, and then that gives me the same mat all the way around as well. So I'll just check it all, make sure, and of course then I can make sure it's straight. Oh, that pattern paper in the color is really driving me a little psychedelic here. There we go. All right. So last but not least, to finish off my beautiful card, which I will get a picture of it glowing in the dark and post it in the fan club group. I gotta let it charge. This is fun, just like this. And I mean, like I said, you could do it this way. I went online and I went to our digital cut files. Thanks to Miss Penny, helped us get them all organized. And I used the congratulations and I die cut it out. And I used the file. Oops, I think I have this backwards. I used my offset file to create the shadow layer behind. That's something that's in the SVG, the Cricut. I just clicked on offset and let it, and then I cut that out of vellum. And so, I mean, I know this is going havoc on the screen, but see, thank you. I thought it's kind of fun and it just adds. And the one reason I wanted to use this, and this is that same Inca Gold cardstock. And I just put it on heavy cardstock and I cut it twice. Which is what on the Cricut and Design Studio you can do. Like I said, I'm just learning it. When I've been cutting everything out, unless it's been like the vellum, I did light cardstock and just a normal cut. But when I've been cutting out my mats or my Not Your Mamas or any of my Perfect Blend, I've been doing a double cut and heavy cardstock just to make sure it cuts really well, because if I'm going to go through the trouble to create a template to stamp and a bunch of images to cut, I want them to be cut and don't want frayed edges. So you kind of have to play around with your machine and see what works best for you and the material you are using. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. It's funky because this is Inca Gold, but it almost is like iridescent because there's times when it shimmers at me that I see gold, I see silver. But I thought this is a fun die cut. This is a fun cut file from the store. I think it's only 99 cents. And it just says congratulations. And I think that's just fun. And then I can go ahead. And the reason I wanted the vellum is because I wanted you to be able to see the background, but yet I needed to differentiate this big words, Candy on a Friday night. The sentiment so you could see it from the pattern paper. So I'm excited because this is my goal tomorrow, is to pull out some of my Brutus Mineral pattern paper and make some sets of cards tomorrow. I have the baby one and and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to tap that off a little bit, rub it with my fingers a little bit. That will help it from, because I didn't get it perfectly lined up. You could use sticky dots. You could use carefully placed brads, or not brads, but sequins behind them, and that would work too. And then from the set, I used the stars, and I did cut some of the stars out. I used a die from my stash to cut some vellum stars as well. I don't know if I'm going to use those tonight. But I did cut out some of the gold stars because I feel like, you gold star. And I saved from the die. I'll show you here if I can show you here quick. From the die, some of these, like right here is a burst. There's a star in here. There's a star in here. And I did cut some of those so that I could try to put some of the stars down on in the gold. And I saved them. So, because they're different sizes, I am using the big ones that actually cut out this time, just because. And I will save those for another day. Oh, yes. I've had, actually, Miss Stacy, I have had it since November. A couple of the junkies up in Minnesota convinced me to get it, and it was part of my Christmas present. But I have already, to be honest with you, Stacy, I have already filled it. That's how much I've used it. I've used it so much since November. I had to refill it. I used the whole thing, and so I now have it refilled. So I haven't used it as much because it was sticking for me because of what I refilled it with the glue I had, and it was too thick. So I had to soak it, and then now it's working. But I love it. I love the glue press, and I love my AGT. So I use both. And of course, still have my little Gina. I have my little Gina ones too here. I have glue everywhere on my desk. I've got, I don't know. There's so much adhesive on my desk. It's funny. Are you going to be around, Stacy, on Thursday? Because I got to come to CR, and I would leave a little early and come see you if you're going to be around. My daughter's coming in at the airport, and so I have to come pick her up. It is fantastic. All right. So, of course, we've got a couple minutes left. We got to add some bling. But instead of the topaz this time, I'm going to use the crystals because I like the crystal ones. We're going to add just a little extra fun. So yeah, if you think you're going to be around on Thursday, I'll stop by and see you. Thursday afternoon. I don't know what time she gets in. I'll message you and see if you're going to be there. All right, 1, 2, 3. And I think I'm actually going to put a couple crystals down here. 4 and 5. It is a fantastic. I love my glue press. If you don't have one, I definitely use a lot less glue with it, and I have, oops, other than the fact that my stick here needs to be cleaned. So now I have glue everywhere. Okay. Yeah, it is a week away. All right. I'll check with you before, because I said, I know what time she comes in, and I'm like, I think when I leave from work, I'm leaving. I got to leave. I mean, I'm not coming back after lunch. So I figured I might as well just go straight down. And then if her plane is a little late, I know where I can hang out. All right. Oh, we didn't. How many did I say we were going to add? 5. Oh my gosh. It's Friday. It's Friday. All right. There's 4. 1, 2, 3. Where's my other glue dot? Here it is, down here. Okay. Because I haven't seen you in a while, so I'd like to stop by and see you. I do need to stop anyway, but it's payday that day too. So shopping. All right. There we go, you guys. So use some pattern paper. Use the CYOE and CYOE challenge. Oh, I was going to explain to you why I originally did that. This was my original idea. Oh, I know. I got to come and look. This was, if you wanted to do this look, but with alabaster. What I ended up doing is, you can see right in here, this is where I was talking about that masks. Now that is easy to fix. I mean, you could easily just where's one of my poos? Grab one of my poos, and you put your little poo color right there. And you wouldn't know the difference that the tree little thing was there. But I like the black a little bit better because the black hides that a little bit more. But oh my gosh, I mean, look at the white. Cut this down, and I'm excited to finish off a card with this one. I don't have any colored poos right now, but oh yeah, I do. I have one colored poo, so you can see one with a colored poo. He's not gonna show up very pretty there, but you know, thanks, Mama. So I just think that's really fun. So you could do the same technique, but use alabaster instead. But I love the Scowline. So, all right, you guys. Well, you guys have a great night. Whether you want to make a graduation card or just a fun silhouette background card, look in your stash. You know, grab some of the Brutus Monroe pattern paper. Like I said, this bedtime pattern paper is only available through May. So it's a subscription one for this month. Oh yeah, Issa, she is. Stacy stops in once in a while, so I have to stop down and see her. I owe her a visit. Thank you all for sticking with me tonight. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week. We'll have my special guest daughter sitting in the background because she'll be here. Woo! So have a good night, everyone.